When we start working with the team, and we did this when we started working with your team, Nora, we always have a readiness conversation with the team. And we probably have worked, we had worked with you as an individual coach, but we also had talked about the process and had some planning together with you. So we always customize our processes to start. We use a lot of storytelling in the early days of those conversations with the team to help the team see themselves. What was the storytelling process like for your team in terms of stepping into the coaching?
The storytelling was an essential component of the team stepping into that. If I recall, the very first time that we told a story, there was one senior team member who brought forward something that had been, I would say, pressed down and not really, I guess, addressed. That had been, oh boy, 8 years prior it had occurred. And what had popped up was immensely surprising, but also it helped the whole team to understand the fears and also how much that story had affected that leader and that leader's growth. And so it really brought the team closer together. The individual actually um, cried and usually doesn't cry. Um, and it was a moment where we all realized that there have been moments in our leadership journeys, individually and collectively, that have been positive, but also really have not been that positive. And that together, if we could learn from these experiences, we could be a better team. And also, it also emphasized what not to do and what to do as a leader. But I have to say, it brought us closer together as a group, and it also enhanced the understanding how important it was for us to have the conversations, to engage in the storytelling, so we knew where each of us was coming from at a different time, both in the present and in the future, because that helped me to even further understand that senior leader in the days, weeks, months, in the year to come. And it was very, very helpful.
Yeah, this ability to be vulnerable with each other is a really critical, I guess we could say, practice. It requires a lot of courage to do so, but it really begins to shift the conversation in the team. So that was a moment I recall as well. And I think this capacity to be able to see the team with new eyes, to kind of take it out and admire all of the humanity that you are as a team is a very powerful piece of a team coaching process.
Donna, not only that, it was a moment where we all understood that each of us is human and that each of us will do great things as leaders, and each of us will sometimes falter, and that we are there to help each other out, and that some of my strengths will help other leaders go forward, and some of the strengths of other leaders will help me go forward. That we can be everything to everyone, and to understand the humanity behind each and every one of us is a compelling and needed attribute of a leader moving forward. It's not the authoritarian top-down leadership style that's required. It is understanding that each and every one of us as leaders are human, and those who we lead are human. And to be able to recognize that actually, if you tap into it, it is gold.
Amazing, amazing. And lots of research says that when people show their vulnerability, other people look at that and say it's courageous. One of the reasons we call ourselves a courage group is we love seeing that happen in individual coaching or in a team coaching. Nora, you've mentioned assessment more than once in our conversation, and we work with the Leadership Circle assessment for individual leaders, and we also work with it as a collective leadership assessment. When you think about working with a tool, it's a pretty complex tool in a lot of ways. What realizations do you think it helped you have that maybe without a tool like that, without that kind of a framework, you might have missed?
when we put all of our individual results together, we put them all on top of the circle. They were anonymous, but we put them on top. And we took a look and we realized that those that were the ones that we really aspired to be, if some of us had sort of levels that were down here, if we could dampen down the parts that we actually did not want to have as leaders, those sort of skills, attributes, and that would help to push up that those that we really, really wanted to improve. And it was that seesaw that we understood, was that, you know, if there was something, if I was protective, there was definitely that, if the more I was protective, the less I was, oh my gosh, Donna, what would I be if I was less protective?
Authentic and
Authentic, yes,
courageous. Yeah.
courageous. But if I was less protective, I would be far more authentic and courageous. And then so not only understanding each other individually, but also understanding that whole footprint and seeing where other individuals were. And it actually demonstrated that we had a lot of strengths and that we were pretty diverse. And so being able to start to understand how we could help each other dampen down those sort of areas where we didn't want to sort of engage in as leaders, such as protecting, etc. We could help each other out immensely, and that happened.
Yeah, one of the things that seems to be important, and we're discovering this in our practice and certainly with your team as well, is that it takes the combination of the individual coaching, the individual looking at self as leader, and then this collective working together where you get to practice and experiment. There's something magical happens when those two things come together. And your team was a really good example of that, I think.
They were, and I will say, and I know I'm repeating myself, but it required us to be very vulnerable and very open and very honest, and to be open to that, because sometimes being vulnerable, I think individuals sometimes have found when they're vulnerable, others may take that advantage of that, and we that was not where we were going. We knew exactly, you know, what we wanted as the outcome, what our journey was going to be. In Courage Group, you provided the safe space for us to have all those components to be able to learn from that learning circle. Absolutely, both individually and collectively.
Yeah, we can only see ourselves as distinct when we're working with other people, and that capacity to be able to see myself in all my strength and with all my learning edges, with a group that holds me with care. I mean, because the group held each other with care. The combination of that, I think, seemed to be particularly strong in your team, because you continued to hold each other in care when you had, you know, challenging decisions making. We were there here and there, but you did a lot of holding each other accountable as well as supporting each other.
We did, and I would say that it was a good combination of actually leaders. First of all, you have to have the right combination and the right factors. But we're also in a profession where caring is essential. We are caring for patients, families, their caregivers, communities. We're caring for individuals in the organization and for each other. And one of the best things that we learned together was how important it was to care for ourselves as well. We had forgotten that. We were going full speed, 7 days a week, sometimes 12, 16 hours a day for months at a time. And we forgot that. And so it gave us cause for pause to sit back and say, okay, you have to walk the talk. Caring is one of the values of our organization. And so being able to say, oh my gosh, aha, if I care for myself and I engage in this leadership journey, that is demonstrating to everyone else that, you know what, I really believe in the values and I'm living them.
Right. Well, Nora, it's been a great opportunity to talk with you today. I'm encouraged, is so committed in our company to creating organizations where care is there alongside of productivity and effectiveness in the organization. And we believe, as you do, that care is essential to that, and bringing our humanity to our work is essential. Thank you so much for joining us today in this conversation. And we're looking forward to more great successes from the organization, which you've now, I know you've moved on from, but they've definitely continued on to do great work and are continuing to grow their leadership. So thanks for letting us be a small part of that.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you for being part of an awesome journey for us. Take care.